I'm still not convinced, though, that we don't see a very similar style to what happened in the last game, where you just have one gank go for Beishang and Junjie stealing away the rest of his camps.
I wouldn't be too surprised to see that, but Beishang, if he can find Junjie, would be able to stop that happening, would be able to contest somewhat on this Lee Sin. Now as we move towards the final bans here, WE have to decide if they want to rinse and repeat banning away Scout in this mid lane. Maybe banning the Syndra could be an option.
Syndra could be a good option just because it's such a safe line pick, but as you pointed out already, I mean, Teacher Ma plays the Syndra. There's no reason for you not to take it for yourself. And unfortunately, this is where you start to get into troubles with Teacher Ma's champion pool. We highlighted at the start of the day some of the big picks like Zoe that could be really good for WE, but unfortunately Teacher Ma just doesn't seem to have him as champion pool.
One thing that is nice for WE is you can kind of expect with a full AD team that they're likely to go for something like the ASOL in the mid lane. The odds of EDG picking the ASOL to deny it for you is pretty slim. I've not seen Scout play ASOL. I don't think that that's a counter pick that will come through. Missing goes for a Leona in the bottom lane. So never mind, no hands off lane there.
So this actually works out a little bit better than the Nautilus, because what you can do is when Set goes aggressive, just stun him and walk away. You don't have to try and fight him. You're not going to give him enough damage to really turn around with the Haymaker, and you can tend to get away. But we'll have to see if that's going to be a better situation for Jumung and Missing on the bottom side of the map. EDG are pretty much saying, hey, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're seeing a pretty similar style from WE here. Early game jungle, engage support bot lane, and the exact same top and AD carry, so they're going to opt for the same draft.
I'd love to see something like a Corki here in the mid lane, honestly. Adds to the poke that you're going to see coming out. Great in those skirmishes and the team fights later on, but Rumble being hovered right now would work too.
I think Zoe would be absolutely fantastic here. The only thing is you are a little bit wary about the engage in these poke comps when you've got the likes of a Leona there, but Rumble going to be picked up. We've actually seen Teacher Ma play Aurelion Sol into Rumble. It didn't go the greatest the last time. The Rumble was just able to have more of an impact on roams, was able to slow down the team engage or disengage from Teacher Ma, and I think this is, again, EDG playing a very similar style of composition that we saw in the last game.
I mean, both teams playing pretty similar styles, right? You've got that heavy ganking jungler. It was at least last time for Beishang. Now it's the Lee Sin. And in that bottom lane, Missing. Going for another would-be aggressive support. As you rightly say, though, maybe playing it in a defensive manner just wants to be something that can be tanky in these team fights.
So if we get to a stage where there's not 3 to 4 kills on the bottom side of the map in first few minutes of the game, this is where I still think EDG are favored in the early stages, where you're able to use the aggression from Rumble, from the Callista, who's more than likely going Halo Blades once again here, and Nidalee Spears just to poke away or either fully engage onto WE around the likes of the Dragons and these Rift Heralds. Whereas on the opposite side for WE, this later game stage scaling is what we're looking for. Get a couple of these items onto the Aurelion Sol. Would love a Rabadon's Death Cap on that champion. And again in that bottom lane, Infinity Edge into the double Zeal that Aphelios has just pretty much started to go for solely, way more than that Essence Reaver build.
We'll see what the builds they opt into are. And I'm excited to see how this bottom lane is going to go, because game number 1, it was Hope and Mako taking control of this matchup. We've got Rumble versus ASOL in the mid lane, but that's not even the most exciting thing to me, because all of my attention is going to that bot lane. It's all going on Hope and Mako.
And Hope and Mako have this really nice combo in conjunction with the Rumble, because whenever you toss the set in, you can either have the Rumble ult already popped out, so then you're slowing people to get set into a nice position to get a multi-man face breaker on the ultimate, or you can just follow up on this crazy engage that Set has with the Callista after getting the knock up into a face breaker, even back into an ultimate if you really want to. This is a really difficult style of execution for WE to deal with just with the champions that they have right now. There's no disengage or any way of dissuading EDG from looking for these engages.
So we've got set up across the board here. Nobody going for any kind of level 1 shenanigans here. It's just going to be the standard coming out from them. But this time, I'm curious where WE are going to go with this early game. Whether they go for anything in the early game. Because bear in mind, they've got the ASOL and they've got an Aphelios down in that bottom lane as well. So once again, not a ton of power in the early game, except on the top half of them.
EDG going for this late invade. They're believing Beishang is going to start on this bottom side of the jungle. And honestly, this kind of works out in favor of WE because Beishang can look to split the map and play towards this top side and get Morgan snowballing the same way he did last time, but doesn't have to worry as much about Junjie getting in and stealing away his own topside jungle because, hey look, I'm going to be able to clear straight towards top, gank on route, and then get into the enemy jungle before you really have Junjie able to get back over towards that opposite side. But as I say that, actually, Beishang opting to just go bot lane and they're looking to fight Junjie instead.
Oh, look at Teacherma moving down. Missing is here. We'll find Junjie. Doesn't have the rest of the team with him just yet. And Hope happy to take a 1v1 with Jomung in the bottom side. Jomung cannot win that fight. Missing is still here. 1v2 right now and still gets a flash out of them. I thought that Teacherma and Beishang were coming straight down.
Well, they're supposed to be, but the problem is Teacherma has missed an entire wave mid lane here because of him roaming at level 1. So he's not going to hit level 2 off of it. Well, just about hitting level 2 off it, but Scout already in a great position. Beishang, yeah, you forced Junjie out of the jungle, but this has been really poor from WE. They've missed out on so much experience.
I mean, it's worked out in the end. It's not too bad. Ultimately, they didn't use any summons. On the other side, we got Junjie's flash. It was a big old setup, but we got a flash out of the jungle. That was definitely the whole plan. Hang on, there's another flash. Jomung getting away with his life. In they go, though. Rend isn't quite enough. Ignite falls off. They survived this one.
And this is the way you want to play this set support. Go aggressive with your flash, especially against AD carries like this Aphelios who can't run away. Because now you've got the Hex Flash available for Mako. He can just hover in this bush. The Hex Flash procs your Nimbus Cloak. You run down Jomung and you make his day a living hell in this bottom lane.
I'm quite impressed by the Rumble CSing there from Scout. He's managed to get a few there that quite difficult to go for. Beishang, in the meantime, is going to start off on this top side jungle here. Scout has spotted him out on a ward. Oh, the Sonic Wave has gone off. He's kind of getting greedy here. Does smite it away. Scout can't get the blue buff. What, did he see him there? He must have seen him.
Yeah, there's a ward in the bush there, so he knows. Oh,
no,
sorry,
I meant did Beishang see him?
I don't think so. I think it's just more trying to just finish off this jungle camp as soon as he can. But this is really good from Beishang in the pathing because, look, he's already cleared out his bottom side jungle. You're forcing Junjie to play towards this bottom side of the map with the pushing top lane because you know that Morgan's going to be able to come across, which he needs to kind of right now.
Yeah, they're looking to punish Beishang here. Spotted out. The wolf will reset. Flash from Scout. Gets a ward jump, but Beishang doesn't have anywhere to go, and Junjie has head him off. So there's no way out of this jungle. Trying to play the Nidalee style against the Nidalee isn't going to work out.
If Morgan had come across a little bit earlier and you had maybe Teacherma come across, that could have worked out. But Teacherma was hovering in towards mid lane. Scout has been doing a great job of just moving back and forth, and unfortunately Morgan sticking around top lane that little bit too long meant that there wasn't the support to try and dissuade EDG from making that play.
Very nice answer here from EDG, and kind of disrespectful from Beishang considering he knew that they were there. Bit of a trade going down in this bottom side as Missing obviously using the early damage that Leona offers to a lane.
Also just the tankiness. The difference between the set and the Leona is, well, Leona can proc that W and just take so little answer from Hope and Mako. So as long as you're turning that damage onto the set and keeping away from the Haymaker, there's very little return damage that can be answered for by EDG, and that's why they're opted for this Leona over the Nautilus pick from the last game.
So we'll see just recalls across the board here, and a relatively quiet early game despite the early invade from Beishang. But this time around, even though Beishang did go down, he's actually even in farm, which last time at this stage of the game, he was already starting to fall behind the likes of Junjie. Actually, it's going to be a tower play in this bottom lane for Jomung and for Missing. That is an absurd amount of damage to come out from a support. Mako nearly soloing Jomung.
This is why set's so obnoxious to play against. And here, look at where Mako's hovering, trying to see if Jomung doesn't back away. He just hex flashes over the wall and runs him down. So you've got Beishang and Teacherma on the way too. This is looking like they want to kill. Oh, I don't know if he got spotted.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did. Here we go. Dive in the bottom lane. There's only 2 caster minions, and Hope is going to hold them away, but Voicelite pushes him straight into his loving arms. And there go 2 kills, both into the pocket of Jomung. Missing still surviving. Junjie wants to get a spear. He's onto Beishang. Equalizer! Scout is on the scene, and you never underestimate the power of Scout's code.
And that equalizer seals disaster for WE. Scout gets down. Jun just picked up 2 kills with him. They'll get the dragon, and yeah, you do have Hope and Mako that go down early, but they managed to pick up all the CS before it hit the tower, so it's not even like they're losing out on XP. EDG managed to turn that around beautifully.
And it all looked so good for WE. They managed to pull it off, but this is 2v4.
I mean, look at the health bars. It's not really 2v4. There's a solid 1 health bar between the entire
2v1
team.
and a half.
Yeah, it's not an even fight, and EDG, they do an amazing job again of just shutting down WE's early plays. Game 1, it was by stealing away camps. Game 2, it's just by killing the jungler.
And it has to be said, this bot lane is really struggling from the side of WE. And Teacherma and Beishong moved down, but they did go for a tower dive with no minions available. We said it right as the dive was about to happen. There was no minion wave. They still went for it anyway.
And it was good from Hope and Mako to clear that out, because the problem with the Aurelion Sol is the orbs are always visible out of bushes, so the second you go down towards that bottom lane, they know what's happening. There's no hiding it. So for Teacherma's perspective, he's got to make the call. We have to go before Junji and Scout get down there. And, well, I mean, all 4 of them end up dying anyway, but it was trying to avoid exactly that was the reason for the rush.
I think the most impressive thing about EDG so far, in not just this game but this series, is Junja is consistently in the right place at the right time. They catch out Beishong in the top side of the jungle clearing away. They catch him out on the bottom side trying to go for a dive. Whatever Beishong wants to do, Junja knows about it.
Yeah, Junji has been... Ooh, hang on, teacher.
There's no way out of this one. Showstopper into the lane, pulled back, and will go down. They're going to donate it. No, dodges away. Scout doesn't even get... Oh, sorry, Hope doesn't get himself an assist, but they still get the kill.
Look, that's all they wanted. It would have been nice to give a little bit of help over towards Hope, but it doesn't matter. They're getting the Rift Herald. But the difference here, once again, is that EDG have moved their bottom lane up towards the mid, so you're getting WE that are answering back. 3 turret plates already gone. The experience and gold from that wave being lost to the turret. So this is EDG where you need to answer back. It looks like they're going to try and do just that in mid lane.
Try and do something here, but the equalizer onto the wave in the bottom side means WE have run out of things that they can achieve down there. The 3 plates that they've got is going to be all they do get.
And this is one of the big things that we saw coming out of MSC, was not moving your bottom lane up to that Rift Herald play. Instead, just trying to pick it up either as a jungler solo through the aggression that your solo lanes have gotten in mid and top, or maybe at most having the support roam up. But once you commit both of the AD carry and the support, it's so easy for WE, especially when Aphelios, who's got the chrono, or not, what's the chakrams, that's the word I was looking for, the chakram guns, he can tear through these structures so quickly. That's the one.
Crescendum is the word you are looking for. When you went chrono, I was thinking echo. I was like,
I've been playing way too much TFT. I'm not going to lie. That was all that was in my head.
Yeah, going for chronos for the attack speed.
Yeah, going chrono. I'm waiting for the new patch to come out, so then I can try that Riven chrono, you know?
I'm not going to lie, mate.
Nope.
I'm out of my depth
you?
in this conversation.
Okay, all right.
Talk to me about Runeterra. That's where I'm at. Or talk to me about League of Legends. Talk to me about EDG, because they are 6-2 right now. 2,000 gold up. And one of the big questions that we've had about EDG, especially in spring, was, you know, they were very much a middle-of-the-table team, and they would beat everyone lower than them. They would struggle against anyone higher than them in the standings. With a dominant performance like this, though, so far against WE, this is a really, really good sign that maybe they've kind of climbed up that proverbial ladder a little bit, and hopefully we'll be able to show some more of this style of play against our top teams as well.
And I like that this opens up several different paths for them. We got another play.
Spear onto Teacherma, flash from Beishong to get away from the equalizer. That's going to be that. Just going to be a summoner burn, but it means that there's more and more control being gleaned here from Junja.
And that's exactly what Junja needs right now. He's getting the vision control in the enemy jungle. You can see... Oh, hang on.
Spear just about going to go wide, but it's going to potentially be an opportunity to drop the Rift Herald. Junja deciding against it. The scout goes to try and get some vision, I think.
I don't know if Scout wants this. This is just Junja going, these are now my minions. Mako does eventually make his way up, though. You do have the AD carry here, too. So EDG looking to really put pressure onto this mid lane turret, but they're not able to finish off that last plate, so mid lane turret will stand for the moment.
It's going to be Mako and Junja that are the ones to get the gold, though, so as you rightly say, I'm not sure if Scout wanted any of that because he missed it, but he got a bunch of minion waves stolen from him. He also didn't even get his tower plates. It's just a feels bad man for him.
This has just been a terrible deal overall for Scout.
Maybe the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals, honestly.
Now, though, EDG are making sure they're getting some nice vision control in that river. So, Dragon about to spawn in 10 seconds. They will pretty handily be able to pick that up because you've got 3 kills onto this Rumble. Already getting a lot of Magic Pen into his kit so far. And that Nidalee as well. Going to be working towards that Athenes and Holy Grail, I imagine, as her next item. But still, she hits like a truck off of the items that she's picked up so far.
One thing that is important to mention, though, is Jomung's build path this game has been much easier. Last time around, he was on the Aphelios again, but he had to go for his tier 2 boots and a cull early on. He wasn't able to get his BF sword or his pickaxe at any reasonable stage. This time around, he already has both of them in his pocket, so he's not going to be completely useless. Good attempt there from Beishong on the kick, but he's forced back, and now he'll be finished off. Punished for the attempt. Doesn't land it and will go down. Hope gets away with his own life, equalizer down, and it's all just going wrong for WE. 2 more kills for Junja. Jomung forced away by Audi. Missing will drop. Morgan answers, gets 1 kill onto the likes of Scout, but that's all he can find.
And as well, now they're able to put pressure onto this bottom lane turret, get a couple of those plates before turret plates drop, and the Dragon as well. This is EDG again. Every time WE try to make a play, EDG are answering.
They're more than answering at this point. A good effort there in the bottom lane by Jomung to try and get a play with his ultimate. I thought he was going to go aggressive there onto Hope, but he's going to just clear things away. I mean, just look, there's been a kill a minute on the scoreboard this game. It's not felt like there's been a kill a minute, but there has been. 10 of them went to EDG. 10!
And this is why, even when we look at WE and you're talking about, hey, there's a nice little easier build path that we've gotten on both sides, it's just been shut down by plays like this, where EDG are reacting so well. Junja, as we said, now that Nidalee is finished off her jungle item and there's a couple of squishy targets for her, the execute damage is going to hit like a truck after the spear comes through, and it's EDG closing this gap very quickly onto WE. Morgan, yeah, gets 1 turnaround kill, but now you've accelerated Hope once again. You've got this Rumble who thrives off of all this early Magic Pen. Leandri's Torment finish, now going to be working up towards that Oblivion Orb as well. Scout is so far ahead of anyone else in this game when it comes to damage. WE, there's not a hope you can even look at this Rumble without getting burned.
Well, 10-3 on the scoreboard. 4 minutes until this Dragon, despite this massive battle for vision that's going on right now. But tower plates have now fallen, so you'd expect some of these tier 1s to start dropping on both sides of the map. Bear in mind, no towers have been taken so far this game. So a lot less plate gold than what we saw. Still a lot, though, going the way of EDG when it comes down to it.
I'm looking at the build path for Junji, though. I was expecting the Athenes and Holy Grails coming through, because when you're so accelerated as this Nidalee, you've already got a lot of damage that's coming through from just the level advantage that you get and how accelerated you are in your build. So I thought we might have seen the more utility-based style come through, but instead going straight for the Zhonya's Hourglass in response to just potentially Beishong getting into him, kicking this Nidalee back into the waiting hands of like Missing or Teachama for the follow-up. So just limiting the amount of pick options that WE have to try and get themselves back in this game.
Junja has looked amazing so far this series, and when you think back to Spring, you know, when we saw EDG playing, a lot of the questions was like how the team plays differently around Junja and JJ, right? If Junja can play like this consistently, if they can get the Nidalee consistently, I don't think there's a question. I think you just play Junja every single game.
And the big difference for me when I looked at Junja versus JJ was the way JJ controlled the objectives. This was the difference maker for me. That every time EDG had JJ in, they just looked far more coordinated in picking up these early objectives and pushing their advantages towards Dragons, towards Rift Heralds. But Junja has come into this game, and both times now, we're looking down the barrel of solo points at about the 16 to 17 minute mark. And he's done an incredible job of making sure that there isn't any way for the enemy to start stacking these objectives nice and early and having a window back into this game.
Jomung's moved to the mid lane here, as has Hope. So they're just going to be trying to clear these waves. Once again, though, that mid lane tower did already go down. It's 2 towers to 1, as we've seen EDG and WE just trade them over the space of the last couple of minutes, ever since those tower plates fell. The question will be who can glean control of more of the map before this dragon spawns onto the map once again. And obviously, there's the Herald in the pocket of Junjia, so he's going to be able to use that wherever he pleases, whether he wants to drop that in that bottom lane, finish off the last tier 1, or be a little bit more aggressive and try and force some bigger advantages elsewhere.
WE are terrified of EDG right now, though.
I don't blame them.
The second they disappear into Fog of War, you had Jomung, Beishang, and Missing all run towards the bottom lane to make sure this play right now didn't happen.
This is not what you want. Teachama forced away. He's in front of the tower, and he's very, very scared. Mako goes on in. He's happy to tank Voice of Light, but there is going to be the Kalista ult, keeping him safe. They're happy to tank the tower. Missing, still surviving. They don't actually have the damage to finish them. The tower survives. It's only one casualty here. And now Jomung won't be able to defend, and Hope can finish that tower off. 40 seconds until the Dragon. So it's a little bit early to get a 2-for-1.
The thing is, though, they get a lot of an influx in gold, and it only takes you 30 seconds to get from the base back towards that dragon pit, so they got enough time to spend the gold they just accumulated. Triple dagger picked up for Hope, and now move in to secure the vision that they've already gotten for themselves, as Missing, Teacher Ma, and Beishang all limp back to their own base.
I'm not going to lie, I'm a little disappointed in the version of WE that we're seeing so far today.
I mean, you've been WE's cheerleader for so long. I'm surprised you managed to keep even remotely a straight face in this cast.
Well, Morgan's doing okay.
That's all that matters.
That's all I got. That's all I got at this point. Because the rest of the map ain't looking good, especially that mid lane. But if there was ever an argument that you need to bring Shanks in, I think this series so far is that argument. Jomung taking a huge chunk from that little electro harpoon from Scout. Now onto Missing. The Eclipse will keep him healthy for now. But once that's down, he's very, very low. Infernal Chains forces the flash out of Missing. And Leona's flash is a big deal.
Especially when the Solar Flare is just about to come up, but Missing is so low, he's going to have to be forced to back. You can see Beishang and Jomung again just giving up this objective. Now, it is a Mountain Drake. It's not going to do massive amount for EDG, but either way, it's still a Dragons that they're securing, a lot of extra control in these team fights, and WE, once again, not even having a look in this game.
Junjia just going to solo this Drake out, doesn't need any help from his team, and that is going to be sole point now in favor of EDG. Yet another advantage acquired for them. 6,000 gold up, 3 Drakes as well. And they have a firm grip on this game, it's a fair point to say. What?
2v1ing!
Jomung, you had flash! I don't understand how you die in that situation. Missing's going to go down as well. What just happened? How? He had flash Dagda.
I don't know what to tell you, buddy. WE have just been dropping the ball every single time.
You can see it on Jomung's face. You can see it on his face. He knows he had flash. I know he had flash.
I'm so glad
you know he had flash.
Like, sorry, this is actually a little bit cruel. I was going to say I'm so happy that we can see the reaction, but now it just feels like
I'm so happy we can see his misery.
Jomung's misery. Yeah, it's like, do you know what makes me happy? Seeing how sad he is, but this is insane. I mean, Scout, straight off, just 2v1s. Missing does everything to try and keep him safe, but this is what we talked about. Scout is so far accelerated in this game because Rumble as a whole usually doesn't fall off until, you know, the 30-minute mark, but with all the extra damage that he's picked up, he's already got 2 items completed. He is hitting so hard right now.
To be fair to Jomung there, that was one of those ones where visually he's very much off the equalizer, but the equalizer hitbox is approximately equal to a quarter of the map. It doesn't really matter if it looks like you're on it.
AD carry.
Look, yeah. I'm telling you, that is how it works. Jomung knows that more than anyone right now. But Baron is it's now arrived on the map. And let's bear in mind, we've got a Kalista, we've got a Nidalee. They're both feeling pretty strong right now. I would not put it past EDG to try and do some sneaky Baron plays here, but they actually just want to fight.
Kill Jomung.
Jomung's still got his flash, so he's going to be okay, I think. In fact, he's just going to tank up the equalizer anyway. He has to go back to base, surely.
Yeah, he's
he
definitely
survived
got
this
back.
time, though.
Just about. Missing not so lucky, though.
Yeah, he's going to be missing out on this Baron play at this rate because he's pulled back in and will be finished off as well. Hope to grab the kill. I mean, this is a beaten down and broken WE that we're looking at right now because they are not... I mean,
they're not having fun. This is not a fun time.
They're just not showing up.
But this is the thing. The game plan that we saw them enact so well in spring just hasn't come together here. Twice we've seen the Aurelion stall try and make plays happen, and or well, at least in the game. But here we go.
Beishang pushed on back, pulled into the fight, and he gets away, but Mako getting damage down. Jomung is here, but he's forced away, and Audi denies Morgan's flank here. Jomung flashes over the wall. There's a kill for Teachamar, but here comes Audi to finish them all off. Looking to cut down Jomung, who's desperately trying to Aphelios them, and he might just succeed. There's a spear, though. Junjie, once again, the Javelin champ.
Despite Jomung trying to do Aphelios things, I still love the way EDG are playing these team fights. Junjie needs to be careful.
He's in a 2v1 right now, but Audi's here, and Beishang needs to be careful himself. Morgan goes in, and they're going to turn this one around. Audi's bitten off more than he can chew, and will fall as well. Mako sees better at that situation. Somehow, 4 members of EDG are dead.
I don't know why they went back in. I don't know why they went into the river. It's not like Dragon's up. It's not like you need vision control on that side of the map for another little while anyway. So they could have just backed and then moved into the river together to get the vision control. But Morgan and Beishang managing to turn that one around. They can now get some vision down on this objective. But look at the way EDG, at least for the start of this play, looks. Because if you watch, it's the way the team turns is one. The shot calling for who we're going to go for is on point. Morgan shows up, the entire team at once all turn to help out the back line. And this is what made EDG so potent in these team fights in spring, was their ability to knuckle down on, we are killing X person and we're going to make it work. This time around, though, Jomung manages to whittle down the health bars. Morgan is on a ward here, by the way. This is what confuses me the most, is Junjie just goes in aggressively. They don't have the damage to kill Beishang with no Lich Bane picked up on this Nidalee yet, so they're able to turn this one back in their favor.
And it's the fact they didn't know that Missing was on the way. Missing comes in. They thought they had the 2v2, but no. Missing was the first one to die, so he's the first one to respawn. In they go, and now, as we mentioned before, soul point for EDG, but that fight ultimately, with the extra 2 kills at the end, is actually a resounding victory for WE.
The thing here, though, is EDG can just play keep away with WE. You don't really care if one Mountain Drake goes over to WE, so they can just play towards Baron, and they have an incredibly fast Baron take with Junjie, Scout, and Hope.
Audi, I was going to say he's looking for a flank. He's looking to proxy farm, maybe. He's going to go into the jungle, though. Missing spotted, clears the vision here. He's actually going to be caught by a spear. They don't want to commit, though, not onto Leona here. Audi's been found and actually might just get collapsed on. In the meantime, EDG could just rush the dragon, though, so they need to be careful here on what they commit to. Jomung caught out by the equalizer, trapped in a corner, and there's a lot of poke damage coming on through. Audi's going to find Jomung, who surely will go down, but he's managed to kite for now. The rest of the team now arriving. They're collapsing on in, and EDG, oh my days, the cleave damage. In comes Junjie to win out the fight, but ultimately it's about Teachamar here, because Audi doesn't have the damage. In goes the Sonic Wave, and WE are coming into their own.
I don't know what EDG are doing. The way they're operating these flanks, we praise them for game number 1, have gone disastrously in game number 2. Audi is forced to pop the World Ender way before the engage happens. Mako's not able to get into the right position to get onto the carries, and WE are now finding their groove in this game.
I was so sure that that was EDG's fight. As soon as they had kind of both sides coming in, as soon as you saw Jomung so low at the very beginning, but they managed to make it happen, and Teachamar, Morgan doing so much cleave damage across the whole team.
Well, the difference here was the equalizer from Scout pretty much net nullified. There's no real damage that is coming across here. Mako is not really in a position here to get onto Jomung, to get onto Teachamar. So when Audi comes in here, World Enders pretty much is over, and they can't kill Jomung. Mako does nothing. And then you're kind of like, well, how the hell is this fight going? Hope is already too low. Yes, Junjie goes in, but the second he comes out of that stasis, he's going to go down. And the health bars from WE, because there's no rumble ults, because Mako hasn't managed to pick someone off, are all too damn high for EDG to deal with.
And take a look at the scoreboard right now, though, because Junjie, last game it was all about him farming and controlling the map. This time, he's out for blood. He's 9, 2, and 5, and obviously getting a couple of those kills in that last fight. A lot more of the responsibility of this game is on his shoulders this time around. While he was being proactive in game number 1, it was Hope that was getting all the gold. He was the one that was carrying things. This time, with so many kills on the Nidalee, Junjie really has to be a massive factor in the fights.
Lich Bane is completed now, which will help substantial amount. Definitely does hurt when you can get that, and that's where a lot of that burst damage we saw in the last fight came from. But you still have to be careful. I think now EDG bitten twice will be a little bit slower to just go for these wayward engages onto WE. But WE, to give them their due, have been doing a great job of kiting back into positions that gives them favorable trades. I mean, EDG want to be looking for these flanks. They want to be looking to try and get the poke with Junjia, but if WE are moving away, they're making sure that they're all funneling into this nice tight close quarters for Jomung's AoE, for missing to get these big solar flares off. That's where WE can continue to find the fights in their favors.
It's worth mentioning as well, Teachamar has a massive CS lead in that mid lane, so as much as I've been ragging on him in this series, he is ahead when it comes to that mid lane, and specifically CS. He's going in with a massive stun across the team, but doesn't really connect. Missing goes in, comboing onto Audi, forces the flash. Moonlight Vigilance only onto Mako, who pulls everyone in. Equalizer across the team. Scout going so deep, but kicked back and taken down. WE trying to line up the kills, and Jomung is free firing. Junjia flashes away. Audi's trying to escape, but Morgan wants to close that gap. WE take yet another fight, and Morgan's not done just yet. In goes the stun, and down goes the health bar. The croc is bigger than the cat, he says, as Beishun goes now onto Audi. Morgan diving the tower, but he's tanking for too long. Jumps away into the damage, but survives somehow, and it's only missing to fall.
And now WE can turn towards this Baron. There's a long death timer still across the board. No teleports for EDG. So WE, they're coming back. They're starting to hit critical mass.
And this is why I love the LPL, because we get these brawls that you just have no idea who's going to win. You get people like Morgan making a play that's on a knife's edge, and it somehow works out.
I am never going to hear the end of this from you if WE come back into this game. But to give them their due, it's been fantastic play. So to start things off, WE again, this front to backstall team fight favors them massively. Missing, catching Audi, forcing him to flash away. Mako, this is a fantastic engage from him, but they're not really able to follow up on it as effectively as they want. They're not able to get onto Jomung, who's the main damage carry here. He's cleaving through several different people with the Runins and with the Calibrum there too. He's able to play so far back in that fight that the short range hope, the equalizer from Scout isn't able to keep him in check. So he's just free hitting and following up on this brawl and just fast moving engage that WE have.
And look at the scoreboard once again, this time over on the bottom side of the map, because it was game one that Hope was absolutely in control. This time around, Jomung still having a rough early game, but in these fights he started to pick himself up now. And there's no real way into the backline here for the side of EDG unless Audi can get a flank. And in that situation, Jomung free firing on Aphelios. We all know what kind of damage Aphelios can do.
And we said, hey look, EDG, mid-game is where they shine. Rumble, beautiful. Callista, amazing. Late game, okay, we're starting to look at WE territory. You got Aurelion Saw, you've got this Aphelios as well, who are really starting to get into their own in these fights. And this is where WE now will take over, and EDG haven't been as clean-cut as we saw in the last game, and now the gold has started to teeter into WE's favor again.
You talked in the break about how Teachamar's build on this Aurelion Salt is so expensive. Well, he's hit 3 items. He's managed to acquire enough gold to make this build work, and now he's hitting like a truck. Those stars are going to hit like you'd expect a star to hit. Now onto the Dragon. Junjia has been found out by Beishun. He's just going to be forced away from the pit here. They might just be able to burst this one through. Equalizer down, forcing everybody away. But EDG are completely split up. The cleave damage might be there, though, as it's utter chaos. Hope desperately stacking up Rend here, but it's going to be Teachamar chasing him in the backline while the rest of his team falls apart. EDG cannot win team fights anymore, as missing Morgan and Beishun will chase down Scout. It was Hope to go down to Teachamar, and another fight as WE line up the scoreboard.
Jomung did an amazing job of positioning that fight where, look, he has no flash, he's already been engaged on, but he uses his positioning to get the splash from the Infernum across several members consistently, and that was the big difference in that fight, where there was so much burst that came out from him across multiple members. You had Morgan able to finish people off alongside Beishun, while Teacherma is keeping Hope at bay the entire time.
There's going to be a mid lane inhibitor falling right here. And obviously the Mountain Drake did go the way of WE. They were able to smite that through during the fight once Junjia was forced away.
And now Baron has run out, but they were able to get an inhibitor with it. Even though it was off a team fight, it wasn't really about the Baron buff.
So I want you to keep your eyes on Jomong here. He's kind of been sidelined into the pit here because of, well, that ultimate. But then when you look at him coming out of the stasis, he knows he's done for, he knows there's too much damage, so moves in a position to get splash onto several members and just rips through the health bars of the two main tanks here on the side of EDG, which means that with Teacher Matt keeping hope at bay, well, there's no real damage that's left on the EDG side, and WE clean up. They've now got their second dragon, and this is where that armor really starts to come in. That extra magic resist really starts to come through, because you're now stacking up several loads of it right now, and you've already got 12% on WE. If they can get a third, it makes it so much more difficult to fight the later scaling as well that WE has.
And honestly, when you look at that fight, it felt like a stat check to me. Because pretty much everyone just clumped as 5 in the middle of the pit. Just everyone was like, all right, throw your AoE. Let's see who survives.
3, 2, 1,
it was WE who just had slightly more AoE or slightly more defensive stats. Who knows which one. And ultimately now, that's 2-3 team fights back to back now that WE are starting to win. You've got a GA now on Jomong as well.
And a lot of it is that Scout hasn't been able to get the utility out of this ultimate anymore, because you had that stopwatch come in from Jomong, which kept him safe the entire time he was on the equalizer. The same happened in the last fight where he tossed it wide and Jomong and Teacher Matt didn't really have to worry about it. So we want to see Scout actually getting these ultimates in the correct spots so that then WE are actually, well, being whittled down by, rather than just having a nice fire to toast their marshmallows on.
Teleport here from Audi. It is really far back though. This might just be a tower going down before he can even get in, because Jomong has serious damage. Flash forward from Mako to make the play happen, but Mako just doesn't have the health bar. Down they go. Junjo as well. Beisheng trying to get a kick onto the back line. Audi has been spotted though. Can he finish Jomong off? The answer is going to be no. Audi goes golden, but he's cut down in the end of Felios to take the kill. Teachama in a 2v1 against both carries, but going golden and keeping himself alive. This is going to be the game. We're going to go to 3 for our first series of the LPL Summer Split. Morgan goes in, Hope going to keep himself alive. Everyone's got a stopwatch, but they all fall eventually. Teachama, the center of the universe. And with a 26-22 scoreline, WE take us to game 2. Or game 3.
Game 3, and what a command, well, I was going to say command way to do it. It wasn't exactly the best of starts for WE, but finding these couple of fights one after another, EDG just not playing as cleanly, means that they're able to stall out. They get the time to go for their later scaling into the Felios in that